afternoon, everyone. This is Kim from the Slow & Co. and Slow Business Club. This event is organized within the realm of the Slow Business Club. I'm the founder of Slow & Co. We're sustainable business connectors. And basically, we help people either create more visibility with their innovative projects that help companies to become more sustainable, or we help out people implementing changes in their supply chain so the supply chain becomes more sustainable. But as said, this event is not as much about us as it is to create value and help other companies. I want to ask my colleague Irache just to shortly explain the Slow Business Club, and then we'll start with Vojtech Vosecky, who's with us today. Irache, all yours.
Hi, everybody. Okay, yes, we have like a Slow Business Club that for us is like a community where we connect people like in the professional term, but in the sustainability world. So we have like two requirements to enter in. The first one, it's like we want people to have the need of improve something in the surrounding, in the environmental aspect or in the social aspect, or both. The second requirement is maybe more difficult because we really want people to have the feel of connecting with the others and not compete with the others, like to want to co-create with the others, to collaborate with the others, to be like in a familiar surrounding and not in a competition way, no? So that's the mainly thing idea, I think.
You thought right. That's absolutely what we're about. But as said, today I'm so thrilled to be here and have invited Vojtech Vosecky, who is based in Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. We had the pleasure to meet in person during the Island Impact Forum. And as said, today is going to be a bit different because normally the slow networkings, we do them with this talk and then we go into Q&A and then we go into breakout rooms. But we decided to switch it up a little bit and make it a bit more interactive. So instead of presenting him directly and so on, we all know that you're very much a specialist in circular economy. But my first question in reality towards you is, I'm very interested and intrigued to know how you actually started that journey. How did you end up in this circular economy realm? Let's start there.
Thanks, Kim, and thanks for having me. Good to see you again. It all started about 10 years ago for me. I had no clue what to do. I was sitting in a university, behind a table, probably bored, looking at some slides that didn't really speak to me. And suddenly there was this course that was focused on environmental engineering. And that was the first time I learned properly, about how does it work when it comes to solar energy, wind energy, water, and energy from water. And I was fascinated. At that moment, I realized, like, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I really had that, like, light bulb moment. And everything changed, like, from 1 minute to another. Because at the end of that lecture, I decided that I want to learn a lot more about this. And I Googled, like, what is a better university or the best university in Europe where I can learn this, stuff about environmental engineering. And I quickly moved to the Netherlands, and that's when I've heard about the topic circular economy. It was becoming trendy back then. And I knew it was going to be big one day. I wanted to be the one who brings it back to my home country. That was, and still is, Czech Republic. So while we were still students studying, we started a kind of a think tank / consultancy called Institute of Circular Economy. It's still there, actually. There's still people working with that. I'm not active at all. But we quickly grew it to 25 employees in 2 different countries. And that's how it all started. And I never really left that field. since, and I've done a lot of different things. Worked in the European Parliament. I was advisor to the mayor of Prague on how do we move the city towards the circular economy. And now I live in Sweden. I do different things. I wear different hats, but it's all about circular economy in different shapes and forms. So I represent Circular Economy. That's a global impact foundation. I'm their independent associate. I work with them all over the world with a special focus on the Nordics. And I also started my own thing just recently, which is called The Circular Economist. And that's all about just bringing more people into the topic itself with content, and soon maybe even some digital products. So that's, I don't want to say long story short because I took too long to answer this, but
No,
yeah.
not at all, because there was this one part that I'm even like, oh, there's going to be digital products. So interesting. I do well aware, and of your newsletter, The Loop. I'm one of your subscribers. So I kind of, as said, we met, and it was that journey that, because I even remember you're also a keynote speaker. I mean, you've had the privilege to be on stage and doing all sorts of things like that. I remember you mentioning one that you did in February this year, I think it was, which was quite amazing. So now to see launched the Circular Economist, by the way, I love the term. And then The Loop. Tell us a bit more about that newsletter, and then we'll dive into another question.
Yeah, sure. So I would never ever think about myself as a writer, as someone who would like in his own time write and send it to people for them to read. But then, at the end of the day, that's what I do on the social media all the time, every day. So without even knowing it and realizing it, you become a content creator, you become a writer a little bit, not in any fancy way, but still. And then, when you are creating a lot of content on social media and you start growing, maybe you realize it's time to also sometimes be a bit strategic about all this. Maybe even try to monetize. And pretty much every big creator that you ask, or when you start educating yourself, everyone's saying you need to start a newsletter because that's a platform that you own.
Yes.
There's no algorithm between you and your readers. You are creating a lot deeper connections. You're letting people, they decided they want to hear more from you, and you're providing them with deeper insights that don't have to please any algorithm. You're free to write what you want, and hopefully people will like it. So I'm enjoying it. Actually, I like it. I always sit down and I start writing it, and there's some kind of peaceful feeling that sets upon me, and because there's this liberty to write whatever you want, however you want it, without thinking, oh, this has to be exactly 100 words, and the hooks have to be this short so most people will see it, and you know what I mean. So The Loop is all about getting more people in the loop, getting more people into the circular economy, and helping those who are already in the game to have a bigger impact by sharing practical insights, strategies, success stories, industry news weekly. That's the idea there.
Well, you know that I'm a subscriber. I can recommend it to everybody here. I'll add the link to the follow-up email we send after each slow networking session, as we always do. So very much recommended. It's been filled with interesting details in companies and suggestions. Taking from your 10 plus experience now, what is something that you yourself are kind of like, I think currently these are the challenges towards that transition to a circular model? Like what do you find the most challenging? Because circular economy is quite wide as well. So what's the most challenging topics in that world?
you see, like the biggest issue I have with circular economy is that everyone is talking about it. People even say it's now a global mega trend. But when you look at the data and the facts, we are less and less circular every year because it's just this sheer level of consumption and mining and production and population growth is faster than anything you throw at it. And the biggest challenge I see is this. It's like, how do we, it's the consumerism. It's explaining people that you don't need 30 pairs of shoes. You don't need 2 cars. You don't need 20 t-shirts. Maybe you do, actually. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. You get the point.
Yes.
Because a lot of voices, even in my field, they're saying it's fine as long as the shoes are sustainable and circular. Don't worry about it. Just consume as much as you will. And I think that's a huge problem because nothing is ever 100% circular or sustainable. So if you think you need 30 pairs of circular shoes, you're still going nowhere. We're headed the wrong way. And we're always going to be chasing a train that goes faster than us.